Welcome to Healthier, Happier Hour, our summer series. We're so excited you're here. I'm Kiersten.
I'm Carly. We are so pumped that you're here with us to help you feel better, connect in your relationships, and enjoy your summer. Yeah. Let's do it. Woo!
Yay.
We're excited. Yes. And we have been spending the last couple of episodes talking about feeling better, connecting your relationships in this fun little summer series. We're going to jump right in. I'm so excited. We are going to be talking today about some different relationships. Any guesses as to how we're going to go about this today?
Any guess?
Any guess? Yeah.
No,
you guess?
Just tell me.
I know. You're like, no, what? Huh? Well, I'm gonna let you know. We're gonna break it down. I was thinking about this. What's the most impactful, the easiest, simplest way for us to really launch into relationships? Because they are complex. They're complicated, multiple people involved, whether it's your family, your friends, your significant other. Like, how can we get the most out of their relationships that are most meaningful to us, right? We all know that people in our lives are important. We want to connect. It gives significance to our lives when we share experiences. It gives joy to our lives when we share experiences. And so our job here, our hope for you is that we can give you some ways to really enjoy your summer in some tangible, applicable ways to connect in your relationships. So we're going to do that week by week. And we're going to focus in on specific relationships week by week. So today, we're going to start with focusing in on everybody's favorite, the romantic relationships in your life.
It brings us so much joy, and it can be super stressful sometimes. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. Like, sometimes I was actually thinking about this the other day. I'm like, but does it have to be so hard, Kiersten? And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. Like, sometimes we can let it be easier, or it's going well, let's allow it to keep going well rather than worrying about something else. So anyway, I'm super excited, and I'm here to be a student today.
Yes, here to be a student. Well, and you're so right. And, I hear you saying, like, it is hard, and it is joyful, and it is special, and it is meaningful, and it's all of these things in one. And so I want you to hang on to one word as you listen to our summer series, specifically like this topic, connecting to relationships. I want you to remember one word. Do you think you can do that?
Yes.
Because it's going to come up in every single episode. One word. And that word, honestly, this could apply to like all of anything you listen to from us, but specifically these little segments. And that word is balance.
Balance.
So I want you to hang on to that word, and you'll find out why here in a minute. But it'll come up again and again and again. So y'all know, like, relationships, Kiersten, I love that you said, like, oh, yes, it can be hard, because you're so right. Even as we're heading into summer, which is like this fun-filled, adventurous, happy, sunshiny place filled with plans and like the pool and barbecues and sports and vacations and all of these things, all that is fun and great and wonderful. But sometimes, we might find ourselves like being around our significant other, being around, whether that's your husband, your wife, your partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever it is, but not really spending a lot of quality time with that person, right? You could be doing a lot of activities together. You could be going to all the things, going to all the kids' sports, riding in the car, going on the trips, doing all the things I just listed, but not really having a lot of intentional time together. And so we want to give you just some practical, simple things that you can try out kind of as a challenge to help you really connect in that specific relationship to make your life and your relationship healthier and happier. So, one thing, and I've shared this before on an episode, I could not tell you which one. I've probably shared it maybe multiple times, but one kind of challenge or way I think for us to connect in your relationships romantically, is to focus in on having that one-on-one quality time. And everybody's like, well, duh, Carly, hello, obviously. Right? And if it were so simple and so easy, we would do
Everybody
it.
would
Everybody would be doing
everyone
it.
at this.
Right? We would just be like, "Oh, well, duh." Right? But this is where the word balance comes in. It doesn't have to mean that you are spending hours with somebody in order for your relationships and your time together to be quality,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't mean that you have to be spending an entire day together. That's wonderful. If you can do that, if you can work that into your schedule, like go do it. Celebrate that, own it, enjoy it, have fun, all the things.
Yeah.
But from a realistic standpoint, and I hesitate to use that word, but maybe from, just a more generally speaking, like what's going to work uh, more consistently for you, you're probably not going to have a whole day every week to spend with your husband or your boyfriend or your significant other, right? But what do you have? Do you have 1 hour a week? And if you don't, let's find 1 hour a week that you can spend with that person because they are a priority to you, right? They are significant to you. They're literally called your significant other.
Uh-huh.
Like,
I see
come
what you
on.
did. Good job.
Throw it on there. Yes.
Uh-huh.
So let's look for where are the ways that we can connect with them? Where are the places in our lives that we can build in some time for this person? Okay. And, my husband and I started doing this thing back when school started. So this was like the end of last summer, end of last August. Um, we decided like we have two young kids, we need time together. Our kids kind of run our lives right now and we're just in that season. However, we need some specific time together to
Yeah.
just have quality conversation, engage with one another, have fun. But we also know in our season right now, it's not in the budget, it's not in our resources, time wise, et cetera, to go out on a date every single week. Like we just don't have the capacity to do that. And that's totally fine. So instead, what we decided to do was do like a weekly date night in. And so it's very low key. We switch on and off once a week. We have a specific night. Tuesday nights is the night after the kids go to bed. One of us has planned like an activity and some kind of like food or drink
Yeah.
thing. Sometimes we have dinner as a family and then we just have a glass of wine and sit around and talk and do like a fun little game. Sometimes we're watching a basketball game if it's like during March Madness or something, and having wings. It's different, but we take turns on and off and we try to really be intentional about spending that hour, 2 hours together. So the nice thing about it is we both have a turn. It's
Yeah.
not all on one person. We're not going out and having to spend a ton of money, but it's what works for us. And
Right.
so I think the beauty of that is when you hear me saying like that word balance earlier is like that is balance for us. We are able to create a balance in our relationship. But we also can plan to do date nights out once in a while. We can plan like once a month. Let's do something a little more special and engage with each other and have time out of the house that feels a little bit more exciting
Yeah.
than sitting on the couch or then sitting around the kitchen table or, sitting out on the back deck and things like that. So for you, what does that look like? Right? Maybe you have later meetings on Wednesday mornings and your boyfriend or your husband is able to adjust their schedule. So you could go to do brunch once a week. Maybe you're able to go on a hike, in the evenings one night a week. Maybe you're able to take a walk around the neighborhood. It doesn't have to be this big, luminous, like we have to get a babysitter, we have to go to a restaurant, we've got to be gone for 3 hours when you hear date night. Okay. But I want to just challenge you to think about how can I connect in my relationship? What does it look like to have intentional time? What would that feel like? And what would it take for us to get to that, to be able to make that happen? Um, and again, knowing that what works for you is going to be different than what works for me, or what works for Kiersten, or what works for your best friend. And that's totally okay. And guess what? 3 months from now, you might decide, hey, this is going great. Like, let's add something else in. Or, let's like pivot a little bit. I need a little bit more like excitement, or I want to do something different, and you can change it again. So my challenge for you, um, leaning into this summer, we want you to enjoy your summer. We want you to connect. We want you to feel like your significant other is a significant part of your life. You are getting meaning from this relationship. You're giving meaning to this relationship, and you're getting quality time. So find a way that you're able to enjoy one another's company in a way that's new, exciting, fun, and consistent so that you have a healthier and happier relationship. So I'm going to pause there. I know it was a lot all at one time. Kiersten, what are your thoughts?
I love that you kept on reiterating that it is specific for you in the season you're in,
Yeah.
and that your example is just that. It's an example. It's not a consultant saying, do this, and the formula equals,
Right.
the best relationship this summer with your significant other. I just love that, and I think that's really important for me to hear and to remind myself, because oftentimes I don't put enough weight into, because I like to do things fast. I'm like, "Okay, here's the way we're gonna do it. All right, like, so and so
Mhm.
said this is the way it should be done." And I used to be, well, like, speaking of date night, I always have known I wanna prioritize it, and so when my kids were a little younger, looking back on it, I probably was coming from an intention of a little bit fear and prescriptive, like, "This is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have a date night every week." And so we did. We had a date night every week. It was the same day. We were, quote, unquote, "prioritizing" that, but what I realized that it felt like to us in our relationship was, once again, like a hot one. I say once again because this is a pattern of mine. When things start not feeling right or good,
Mhm.
this seems to be a through line for me personally, and you might have your own through line. And that's like really beautiful about coaching, because we all have blind spots and we all have through lines. And
Yeah.
so I was pressurizing the situation for us.
Mm.
I was saying, like, "We must do this, we must do that." And so it was a lot of like, "Get a babysitter every Thursday. Okay, da da da. We need to prioritize this. If we don't," and then I get
Yeah.
up early every single day during the week, especially at that time, like religiously for Fitness Inspired. And then I was like, okay, then I have to calm down and I have to go to sleep on time. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like garbage the whole next day? And so I
Yeah.
just was pressurizing it. And then I realized, like you said, having times reflect,
Mhm.
having a relationship as an individual relationship, and like maybe going through it with a coach. And so we found for that season, but I'm excited to look ahead for the summer for us and see what it looks like. If I think of like what the summer looks like, and using some of these thoughts and ideas to see, like, okay, let's have a conversation with your significant other and dream about what it can look like, what your schedule can be. Because we have found up until now, we've kind of been in a different season of, let's take it overnight, like once a quarter is my goal. Even
Yeah.
if we get like twice a year, it's great. Let's take a day, a weekend day, so it's not pressurized and it feels like relaxed. And that's something that, like, since having kids as a couple, I feel like that's what I miss sometimes, and that's what I love, like a looser, relaxing amount of time where it's like, we can just decide spontaneously, like, what we wanna do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of life-giving in a different way.
It is.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah,
love that.
you're totally right. One, I love what you said, and part of it is like assessing, reflecting, knowing where you are in your relationship, and making a call based on that. So knowing, do we need conversation? Do we need time to play and have fun? Do we need time to like have serious conversation? What do we need to connect? And that's different for everybody. So we're here to help you figure that out. But challenge yourself. Go have a conversation with your significant other. Kiersten, before we jump off here, we've really like jam-packed this one, but tell everybody where they can find us if they do want a little bit more in terms of like coaching or support. How can they connect with us? And what's the best way to do that?
Awesome. So healthierhappierhour.com, connect with us there. If you're practicing trying new things, tell us your ideas and tag us on Healthier Happier Hour on Instagram. And we would just love to hear from you. So if you're watching on YouTube, also our email's on there too. So check it out and reach out to us. We're so happy you're here, and cheers.
With my smile for you. Woo-hoo. Happy summer.